Sufism as the spiritual dimension of Islam has a large number of poetical expressions. According to Anna Mary Schimmel, the Sufi poems have given Western scholars idea about the uniqueness of Islamic mysticism. Historically, they began with simple notes of asceticism, but later became outstandingly mystical poetry. Discussing mystical literature echoed by the Sufis is nothing but discussing the teachings of Sufism depicted by the Sufis themselves. It is well known that the background of the Sufis in writing poems is to describe their mystical experiences and spiritual states they have achieved. Sufi poems in Islam, at least as far as its early era, as reported by Schimmel, still echoed ascetic tone from the early Sufis. Then they turned into mystical poems, which talked about love of the lover and the beloved, and reached the zenith in the Odes of Ibn al-Farid, considered the pinnacle of classical Arabic mystical verse. According to Schimmel, the earliest mystical verses are ascribed to Rabi'a al-Adawiyya, who sang her love for God. Absolute love that is not getting stronger or weaker because of hell or paradise. Two ways I love thee, selfishly, and next as worthy is of thee. The selfish love that I do not, shall think on thee with every thought. This purest love when thou to raise the veil to my adoring gaze. Not mine the praise in that or this, thine is the praise in both, I wish. According to Al-Ghazali, what Rabi'a meant about selfish love was love for God due to His goodness and grace, while as worthy is of you was love caused by His beauty and majesty that revealed His secrets. Both of these love are sublime and deep love, the bliss of witnessing the beauty of God. An Egyptian Sufi, the Nun al-Misri, wrote a love poem softly and clearly. The domain of the Gnostic's heart is in a garden, heavenly, beneath which are the veils of the Lord. In their camping place, a crop of their fruits gently blows from proximity the breeze of intimacy with God. The poem illustrates that the vision of the divinity can be experienced here and now in this very life, not in the paradise. And the garden of paradise can also be visited in our own heart. Besides Zunun, a Sufi from Baghdad, Junaid, describes his love for God as follows. My affair becomes strange near every stranger, and I become an odd thing with everything odd. He expresses the strangeness in connection with the fact that the Sufis have various ranks, and no one can dive into the depths of the experience except those who have a deep love for God. This deep love seems to have been experienced by Al-Hallaj, the famous Sufi, because of his theophanic saying, Ana al-Haq, I am the truth. He recites, I saw my Lord with the eye of my heart, and I asked, Who are you? He answered, You. It is also said in his Diwan, I become the one I love. He who loves me becomes me. We are two souls fused in one body. My sight is his sight, his vision is our vision. In the poems of Al-Hallaj, he expresses the unity between God and the human spirit, which he himself experienced. Such expressions are called shatohat, that is when the awareness of reality has vanished. Ecstatic utterances were also expressed by the predecessor of Al-Hallaj, that is Bayazid Bastami. Subhani, glory be to me, said Bayazid. Such an ecstatic utterance came out of his mouth when all of his consciousness was gone. Certainly such ecstatic utterances need interpretation, cannot be judged by literal meaning. Ecstatic utterances in later developments are packed with poetic metaphors so that the possibility to be controversial is minimized by symbolism that make them vague. There are many ecstatic utterances that can be found in almost all poems of the Persian Sufi poets. Poetry there is really suitable with mystical experiences. Poetical creations and creative elements in mystical experiences made Sufi poetry flourish. One of the greatest Sufi poets is Jalaluddin Rumi. Fariduddin Attar, a Persian poet, met a young Rumi once. During that meeting, Attar gave Rumi his Diwan, collection of poems. As an adult, Rumi really felt inspired to have become a great Sufi poet who was most passionate about voicing the paradoxes of life. Rumi's masterpiece is Mathnawi. Many of his admirers said Rumi is not a prophet, but he has scriptures. Rumi himself once called his Mathnawi a tavern of Tawhid, or a tavern of unity. For thirsty travelers, it is appropriate to take rest at the tavern. In the tavern of Tawhid, said Rumi, all other than the one are idols. Listen to the story told by the reed of being separated. Since I was cut from the reed bed, I have made this crying sound. Anyone apart from someone he loves understands what I say. Rumi's singing seems to symbolize the sadness and yearning of a reed being separated from its reed bed. The separation is a primordial pain. Rumi wants to say that the human spirit always longs for returning to the mother's bosom, to the place of origin, the primordial origin of the spirit. This kind of expression of love can be found in the monumental form in the poems of Ibn al-Farid, who is often called the Sultan of Lovers. He was a Sufi figure who had views in line with Ibn Arabi. His poems are quite controversial, as are other Sufi poems. We drink wine when we remember the beloved. Remembering him makes us drunk before the wine is stirred. The full moon is just the clouds. The wine is in the form of the sun surrounded by a crescent moon. Indeed, to express mystical experience in poems, the Sufis often use images like wine, drunkenness, a cup, a tavern, a glass, a mirror, a garden, fragrance, fire, bloom, a donkey, wood, and so on to sublimate meaning. My hand always used to hold the Quran, but now it holds love's flagon. My mouth was filled with glorification, but now it recites only poetry and songs. In fact, in another poem, Ibn Farid dares to have used some erotic diction that literally seems obscene if it is said to be the poem of a divine lover. Nevertheless, that is how it is, because the thoughts of the Sufis are always controversial, playing with paradoxes to unveil the real reality. I love her because of her slim body and big behind, the full moon whose beauty is stupendous. How beautiful it is to spend the cold night when her cheek touches my cheek. To interpret the poem, we should have a very deep understanding, because textually the poem written by Ibn al-Farid contains erotic elements. So, two erotic phrases can be interpreted as a figurative meaning. The phrase slim body is the divine tajalli, or the self-manifestation of God, and big behind is a sign that refers to all of nature written by the pen in the preserved tablet, or Lawhul Mahfuz. When truth has no burning, then it is philosophy. When from the heart it gets burning, it becomes poetry. Muhammad Iqbal, a Pakistani reformer come philosopher, is one of the well-known Sufi poets. One of his characteristics compared to other Muslim poets in the 20th century is that he really dug and picked up fragments of ideas of the hidden rich treasures of Sufism, while others often underestimated it. The purpose of his writing his poems, as he said it, is to invite his readers to experience spiritual enlightenment, because according to him, human being is not a mere social and material being. For Iqbal, Sufi poetry is that which can carry a message about self-realization. Stating that life is an infinite ocean, the waves of which are never motionless, Iqbal asserts that the self is active and dynamic. The self, as an infinitely spiritual potential, is only possessed by a human being, and that potential can be used as a means for the perfection of life. The life of a true Muslim lies in persistent pursuit of the self. The peak of that pursuit is Junun. It means the peak of the self is Junun. The term Junun is taken from the word Majnun, the name of a character in the famous Arabic story, the love story full of sacrifice, even to the point where he gave himself up on fire, is many times used as a symbol of the true love by the Sufis. Junun is interpreted to be the solemn love for the one, or it can also be meant to indicate a mystical state. The mystical experience is the Unia mystical experience. According to William James, there, reason doesn't work and speech is meaningless. However, once the experience has taken one away, the imagination can operate to reconstruct and interpret the ineffable experience. Poetry functions to strive to reconstruct and translate it in a language. In that effort, symbolization and allegory can play freely to decipher it. Sufi experience is enlightened knowledge of reality. This kind of knowledge often contrasts with the common sense, because the Sufi experience reveals a world that has not been touched by the common people. I'll see you soon.